Okay, yeah. Whenever
Um,
we're ready. Yeah.
so this is Dennis. He's the director of building infrastructure and asset management at the Nova Scotia Department of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Really nice to have you here, Dennis.
Thanks. Well, welcome everybody. I wish I could see all of you, and I actually wish we could do this in person. It's always much more fun, and I'm much more energetic when I'm in person. So what I thought I'd do today is tell you about what I do, what sort of my job is, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself and the wacky life I've led to get to where I am today. And then if there's any questions, you guys can ask me some questions, and I'll answer like important questions like how much money can you make? Because that's all my son asked me about. So my son is in grade 11, and I've been talking to all of his friends about this. So what I will do is I'm going to share my screen and I'll do a presentation. And if I'm talking too fast or if you want me to slow down or whatever, let me know and we'll go from there. So just let me know when you guys can see my screen.
It's coming up now. It's good.
Okay, you guys can see it?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So Anna introduced, my name is Denis Pelichero. I'm a professional engineer and I'm also a certified project manager. Fancy words. It impresses my mother quite a bit when I say that. And I work for the Nova Scotia government. I've been working for the Nova Scotia government now for over 15 years. And my current job right now is I help look after all of the public housing in the province. So these are senior apartments and family units right across the province. And we help fix them and make sure that they're repaired. So how did I get to where I am today? So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm just going to be using low tech here. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and how I sort of got here. This was not my career of choice. It sort of found me. So how did I start? Well, I'm originally from Sudbury, Ontario, the home of the Big Nickel and one of the tallest smokestacks in the world. So I grew up looking at this, and when I was a kid, grade 3, grade 4, moved to St. Catharines, Ontario, Niagara Falls, the Big Cliff, with a lot of water rushing over it, home of the Royal Canadian Henley Regatta, and I used to row as a kid. So when I moved to Nova Scotia, I was really happy to see over in Dartmouth and all the rowing clubs here. So it sort of reminded me of home. So that's where I'm from. And so what I did was I graduated from grade 14. So in Ontario at the time, we actually had grade 13. So after grade 12, you could do an extra year to prepare you for university. And I did so great at it that I stayed for grade 14, which really means that I didn't do very well. And I stayed for an extra year in high school. And my teachers were like, oh boy, this guy is not going to amount to much, maybe, you know. But what I did was I actually wound up joining the Navy. And I'll get into why I joined the Navy in a little bit. But I joined the Navy under a training program that they had because they were hiring. They didn't have a lot of people. And what they wound up doing is they sent me to a marine engineering college. So I went to college first, technical trade, and I studied marine engineering technologist, which is like being a mechanical engineer with the added fear of drowning. That's a dad joke. I'm allowed to say these dad jokes. And I went to St. Lawrence College in Cornwall, Ontario. I went to school there for 3 years. And after I graduated, can you guys see my cursor moving around? Right. So what I wound up doing is I served on some old ships. This is one of my first ships here. So actually some of my friends, lots of valves. And actually what was really cool while I was there, I actually became a Navy shipborne diver, which is an extra qualification. So if you fall off the side of the ship, I'm the rescue guy that comes and gets you. So I did that, met a lot of great friends, and I spent the first 9 years of my career in the Navy. And I was getting a little bit bored, and I wanted to do stuff. So I wanted a new challenge. So the Navy at the time, they were offering a chance for it's called a university training program for non-commissioned members. That's a fancy word for basically saying I was like a sergeant, if that's an easy way to put it. And they said if you want to become an officer, you can. And what I was able to do is I wound up going to the Royal Military College of Canada in Kingston, Ontario, and I studied engineering. And boy, I wanted a challenge, and boy, did I ever get a challenge. These are some of my buddies that I was there with. We did a lot of cool stuff. And then I graduated as a marine engineering officer. So basically, my kind of like my boss's job. And I was a marine engineering officer. And I wound up going to the, here's some hero shots of what I looked like when I was in the Navy, young and vibrant and full of energy. And as a diver, I got to do some cool stuff. I was in the Gulf during, right after 9/11, so we got to do some stuff like that. And one of the ships I served on, I'm very proud to serve on, was HMCS St. John's. And that was one of my ships. So I did that, and I served for 20 years altogether in my career, but I wanted another challenge. So anyway, this is all the cool stuff I got to do while I was in the Navy. While I was there, I applied and I became an engineer. I got my engineering license, and I also became a project manager, which is another qualification. I got to work on some really cool things while I was there. I was on board ship. That's HMC St. John's. That's one of my older ships. I was up at the Naval Engineering School, so I was sort of like a vice principal, I guess would be the easiest way to put it. And I helped look after some training for machinists and gas turbine technicians and cool like that. And I actually looked after submarines for a little while, so I got to see the new submarines. This is actually a picture of HMCS Windsor when we were taking her out of the water. And I got to work on that one. So then, I'm just changing here. So it was time for me to get out of the Navy. I wanted to try something a little different. So because I had a lot of engineering management experience, I went to go work for the Nova Scotia government, and my job was to look after hospitals and nursing homes. So I don't know if anyone here recognizes any of these, but this is Northwood. That's out behind the BMO Center in Halifax off of Hammonds Plains Road. So that was actually one of my first projects that someone gave me. I believe it was about $40 million. And I'm like, wow, I get to run a $40 million project. And so we built a pile of nursing homes, working at the IWK, doing a lot of stuff. This is an MRI at the IWK. This is the new children's MRI. We just finished doing that one a little while ago. I was very happy to be part of that project. So I did that for about it was more than 9 years. But I learned a lot of great things. And then very recently, I'm just going to go to my next slide. Very recently, I wanted to take on a new challenge. And so a job in public housing came available. And that's what my job is right now, is I work helping fix public housing across the province. So where I work right now, we have architects and we have engineers. We also have architectural technicians, like college graduates, mechanical engineering technicians, civil engineering technicians, electrical engineering technicians. We have planners, which is a specialty at Dalhousie University. So we have a really nice little team here, but we also get to work with people in finance. My bosses are always accountants. But we also get to work with people like policy people that make up policies for the government, and lawyers. And it's not just working in isolation as an engineer. We work as a team to make sure that we can make life better for some people in Nova Scotia. So here's my career in a nutshell. Being an engineer was not my number one choice. I wanted to be a pilot. But I couldn't be a pilot. I guess I didn't have what it was. Here's a really cool shot of me jumping out of a helicopter as a diver. And that was during 9/11. We were doing some operations, I got to see some cool stuff. So my fallback plan was to join the Navy, make some money, and then get my private pilot's license, which did happen. But I really liked building stuff and fixing stuff. And the Navy really gave me a chance to do that. I realized, wow, I really like doing this other stuff. So they offered me a job, and I kind of took it from there. So my whole career, I've been a worker bee. I've scrubbed toilets. I've washed pots and pans on board ships. I then pulled wrenches, fixed a lot of things. Then I became a supervisor of a few people, and then they trusted me. So I became a junior engineer, and then I became a senior engineer. Then I became an engineering manager, and then a director. And then who knows where my career will go from here. Right. So I was very, very lucky. I stumbled upon all of this. And I had some really great mentors that sort of pushed me in a certain direction. So education requirements, what got me here? Well, I did horrible in school. I know your teachers are like, no, don't say that. But I graduated high school with a 65% average. So but I took it from there. But what really was important was that I had really good fundamentals in math, physics, and chemistry. And I have this argument with my son every day. He doesn't like doing English. And I said, English is very important because really it's all about communicating, being able to write really well, and being able to present and speak. But writing is very, very important as an engineer, because that's all we do is we write big, thick reports all the time. And so, yeah, that's what you need. There's no way around it. If you want to go into the technical trades, math, physics, chemistry, you're going to need to do it, because what you're learning right now are the building blocks of what you will need to go to college. Right behind me, I put this up on the board. This is probably some basic stuff that some of you are going to be doing, right? That graphing, you'll be doing in grades 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 11. That's probably one of the most important things to learn as an engineer. And the sine law and cosine law, you'd be surprised how you use it every single day. And chemistry, that's actually the formula for acid rain, if you want to understand how acid rain works. And always learning how to do math for finance. So yeah, that's really, really important to know. These are actually some of my friends in the photos. Additional training. Well, there's a lot of courses that you can take, but I would really say the most important training or skill that you need is a willingness to learn something new every single day. If you have that in your mind, that like, hey, I want to learn something, or why does that work, and why? And I always ask why. I used to ask a lot of whys. I think the most important thing is that you're always willing to learn something new. These are some really cool people that I got to work with. Mark Garneau, Canada's first astronaut. I didn't work with him, but he was a marine engineer just like me. So I followed in his footsteps, but I didn't become an astronaut. This fellow right here is Jamil Janjua. He is a test pilot now for the U.S. Air Force, and I went to school with him. He was wicked smart in university. There's my friend Stu Hughes that I did a lot of my training with Prince Charles. And this is a public administration officer in the military. And actually, this lady right here, Monica Quillen, she was one of the first female engineers in the Canadian Navy, and she just is the first female Canadian engineer that achieved the rank of Chief Petty Officer First Class. So that's a first. And we actually worked together. I worked with her husband, and then she actually worked for me for a little while. So that you get to meet some great people. And all of these people, they were always willing to learn something new every single day, and they took their careers to some great heights. We're doing okay for time?
Oh, we're great. Yeah, no, this is
Okay.
great. Thank you, Denis.
So what's my typical work day? Well, one thing I like about my job is every day it's different. And actually being able to be here with you guys today, this is one of the things that I really enjoy about my job. Every day there's something different. There's always problems to solve. I never say problems, I say things to resolve. That's what I love the most about my job. I've been very fortunate that where I work now, basically my job is an 8 to 4 or a 9 to 5 job. What do I do all day? Meetings, more meetings. And then over lunchtime, I get to watch a little bit of YouTube and shop on Amazon. That's a joke. I get to work through my lunch, but that kind of gives you an idea of what, I have an office job. When I was in the Navy is not an office job. You kind of work all the time. You're gone away, things like that. But right now, for most engineers, that's kind of like your job. It's like work in an office, get to go out to the field to get to see some cool stuff. This is how we put stuff into a building that's already half built. We make little shelves for it, and then we jam them into the building. So the best part of my job really is working with other people. I really enjoy that. It's not about the project, but it's really about the people doing the project. I always say the project is the nice after effect of what you're doing, but I get to meet and work with some really, really great, smart people, and not just engineers. I know we're the greatest, but no, I get to work with, I get to see Nova Scotians all the time. Like I get to go out and see the public. Like when I was building hospitals, would go to a hospital, get to see the patients, meet the families. And then that the jobs that you're doing, like they're actually impacting people. Right now, I mean, I do a lot of work on seniors buildings, and I get to see that. I get to see the seniors that were fixing their apartments and their buildings. And it's really nice to know that you're doing some good in the world. Helping others is a big part of it. And when I drive around the city, I drive around Nova Scotia, I can see projects that I've been working on. And I think it drives my son crazy because we'll go by something. I'm like, oh yeah, I did that over there. And it was funny. And my dad used to do that to me. My dad was a bricklayer. So every time we would go by a big building, my dad would point out the buildings that he was working on, and made him very proud. And I'm sort of doing the same thing right now. So I get to see the stuff that I do. In my office, I kind of overlook the Halifax Harbor, so I get to see the comings and goings of the Canadian Atlantic Fleet. So I look at the ships, and I'm wondering, boy, I wonder who the engineering officer of that ship is, sort of thing. All right. Pay. Well, being an engineer, that's not my Learjet, and that's not my race car. But as an engineer, you can have a very comfortable living. I'm not going to get into what they are. I've got some websites here. You can go and see how much money you can make as an engineer in the government and things like that. You can go research. It's all online. You can go look at it. But I like to say it's a very comfortable living, right? Work-life balance. Wow, that's another reason why I love my job. So in the military, it depends, because sometimes you're gone away for a long time. I've been in Bosnia and Afghanistan. So when I'm gone for like 6-7 months and all that. But working for the Nova Scotia government is great. It's a great work-life balance. I do have a life outside of being an engineer. I'm an avid snowboarder. And I love riding motorcycles and dirt bikes. So that's me on my dirt bikes. So I get, when I take my vacation, I get to go away. Yeah, so it's pretty decent. Great life balance. However, this is my sort of warnings. This is my philosophy on life. The harder you work, the younger you are, the less hard you'll have to work for the rest of your life. So what does that mean? Work hard in school, right? I really, really wish I had paid attention in junior high and high school. Like I said, I did not finish with very high grades. As a result, I was very fortunate that that I was actually accepted to go to college. I actually applied to go to college to 4 colleges, and I got denied every single one. And I finally found one place that would give me a chance, and I went to college. So if I'd done better in school and got a little higher marks, I probably would have got into the other programs. I wanted to be a pilot. I didn't get into any of the programs because my marks weren't high enough. So I had a little bit of a fallback plan. So you work hard in school, you get decent grades. You don't have to get 95s and all that. You just good, solid grades, understand what's going on. And then you can, get a little bit more education. And, the more education you get, the better the job you can get. It's very simple. There's no easy way around it. My son wanted to be a basketball player for a while. He's 5'7", so you can kind of see where that career is going. So it's the mind is a very powerful tool. So the harder you work, the younger you are, the easier it will be for the rest of your life, if that makes sense. I have some other advice here. So does everyone know what they want to do? They're in grade 7. They already have their life planned out for them. If you don't worry about it. It's you'll figure it out in time. But don't take the easy way out, right? Work hard now, right? Challenge yourself. Like I said, it's easier to work hard now than try to do it in your life. Like being able to go to school or something right after while you're 18 years old is a lot easier to do when you're 30 years old and you got 2 kids. So when I went to university, and I was very lucky that I was accepted to go to the Royal Military College. I was 28 years old, and a lot of my classmates, so I wasn't wearing the red suit with the little hat on. I was a mature student. But a lot of the students some of the other classmates like myself who were like in their late 20s and 30s, whatever, we had families. So we were going to school, going to university, and we had families. It was very difficult because you're trying to balance your family. So, it's easier to do it when you're younger. My biggest thing, as I keep telling young people, is when you're doing problems at school, don't just focus on trying to solve the problem. Try to understand how you're solving the problem, because that's really what your teachers are trying to teach you, is not to answer the question, but how to get to the answer. You have to do the work. You got to be responsible for yourself. There's no easy way to say this, but you got to put in the work, and you have to be responsible for it. It's up to you to learn, right? Your teachers, your parents, and all your tutors and things like that, they're there to help you along the way. They'll show you the road, but you have to walk down that road. You have to put in the work. Is it hard? Absolutely. It is extremely hard. However, it's extremely rewarding. That's the nice thing, is that when you're done, the end of it, you're kind of proud. Like, I look back at my life and I'm like, I can't believe I made it here, to what I'm doing, but it took a lot of hard work. And and what do I do now is I help others to go down that hard path. And that's why I'm here, here to talk to you today about. That's all I really have to present. Let's find some cool photos here.
That's great, Dennis. I'm
Yeah.
gonna cut in because we just have a minute
Yep.
or so left. So I'd like to see if there's any questions from the students through the teachers, or if Anna has any questions for you. I want to thank you. That's great advice, and your career and education journey is a great example. I love the theme that's come through this morning, is that, people do different things, and you can change your career, and you keep those options open, and you just keep working hard, and take every opportunity that presents itself. So we'll take it. It does take a minute for the questions to get to the chat, but I'm going to say, Anna, do you have any questions for Dennis?
Are we done at 10:30? Is that when my time is up?
About 10:25,
Oh,
about
okay.
now, but we have a minute.
Okay, sure. I'll take any questions.
We don't have any questions in the chat yet, but I was just wondering, how has COVID affected what you do or the industry that you work in?
Well, COVID had a real impact because one is we weren't sure if we were able to work. I was working on hospital projects, so we could continue all of our hospital projects. They were deemed essential. But the big thing that we're seeing right now is, because of the supply chain issues, right? We can't get stuff, material. That's what's really slowing us down right now. So all of these projects, and I try to keep telling that to the minister and the deputy ministers and all that, is that the reason why we're slow is that we can't get parts right now. But we have to be patient. So we have to be, as an engineer, you have to figure out better ways to do it. So sometimes we change the material, we source out local material, things like that. But that's the biggest thing for us, right?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Dennis. We appreciate your time, and I know that you're volunteering in different schools and you do all kinds of mentoring. So thank you so much for sharing your story with the students and the teachers today, and all the best to you.
All right. And if anyone has any questions, please send them to me and I'll send you some answers. Have a great day, everyone. Best of luck. Take care now.
You too.